It was 60 years ago today that Rubber Soul came out to play. Quite an album. Really, quite an album. 60 years today as I'm recording this, I can't believe it. Certainly a watermark in the Beatles' career. This is the original, well, not the original, this is the original, at least, Capitol CD release right here. Uh, you know, just, I think Rubber Soul, in the whole history of everything, Beatles catalog, of course, released December 3rd, 1965, almost strikes me as a little bit of a trilogy, showing sort of a growth. There was always some sort of growth with the Beatles from the very beginning to the very end of the group's career, going into the solo years as well, which I've covered a lot on this channel. Just sort of my unscripted take with a lot of this. Basically, it's sort of the beginning of a little bit of a trilogy for me. You get Rubber Soul, 1965, Revolver, 1966, and then Sgt. Pepper, 1967. So kind of a trilogy of change, of growth, towards the end of the touring years, and then certainly the beginning of really just going inside of the studio for the rest of their career. Some amazing tracks on it. Now first, I'm going to get to the weakest track in the album, Run For Your Life. Yeah, half a line cribbed from an Elvis song. One of John's, not one of the great ones. But still a very essential album. I mean, really, we're talking Beatles. You do want to get this. Drive My Car, great beginning, of course. Norwegian Wood, This Bird Has Flown, a classic song. You Won't See Me, nice, about Paul and Jane Asher and stuff like that. Nowhere Man, classic song. Think For Yourself, quite a good George song, kind of underrated. The Word, Lennon McCartney, next track, kind of underrated, kind of very mid-60-ish, mid-60s sound. Michelle, that was basically one from the early days that Paul resurrected, finished, for this album, kicking around for a while. What Goes On, one of the few, if not the only, Lennon, McCartney, and Starkey songwriting credits. Girl, that's by John Lennon, another classic song. I'm Looking Through You, Paul just writing, again, possibly his experiences with Jane Asher as well. In My Life, probably one of the undisputed classics of John's entire career. In My Life, just a very different sort of song than he had been writing up to that point, or up to this point, rather. Wait sounds a little bit like a Byrds leftover track, very much influenced by them. If I Needed Someone, another good George song, So again, just sort of going down through the tracks and everything, they've, definitely a great album. I'm kind of surprised we have not yet gotten a separate box set. Now, I also know that there's the anthology stuff going on, and yes, I'm going to be getting to some of that very short order as well. So, not to panic for anybody out there, I'm going to be offering my takes as well. I'm deliberately trying to stay away from everything I can with anthology until I get to see the episodes myself and critique also the Anthology 4 CD, which I recently picked up, but that's for another video. Also Rubber Soul, you'll notice on the cover itself, the band name is not there. So that was sort of a first. People could just recognize it by them. And also that effect right there, that very much that elongated effect. The story goes something like this. I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but they initially had the mock-up, they're at someone's home looking at it on a projector. It was just a straight up and down mock-up. Thing fell back against the wall and did that elongated thing, and they're like, oh, can you do that? To the photographer. Yeah, no problem, we can do that. So that's why you kind of get that little trippy, effect right there with the, the elongated cover. Certainly a classic cover. Certainly a classic album, in the Beatles canon. There's very little I wouldn't classify as classic within their entire, songs, albums, everything like that. This is definitely much more of a John album in a lot of ways. Really great album, really amazing album. I think the next year in 1966, Revolver, that's, 1966. By that time, they're stopping their touring. That's much more of a Paul album in and of itself. So, sort of, yes and no. I think George Harrison once called it kind of part one and part two, and I kind of see it that way. It's sort of a little bit of a part one and part two, but again, I think it's the first act in that sort of trilogy, as I said at the beginning of this video. So those are my thoughts. I hope everybody's doing well, staying warm. Got more content to come before the end of the year, which is wrapping up. I can't believe it's already December yet again. But just I appreciate it, everybody. Thank you so much for the thumbs up, the likes, the subscribes, the comments, everything like that. The new subscribers, the old subscribers, I appreciate it. And I will see everybody in the next video. So just remember that the word is love.